Hi guys, welcome from Johan and Desiree from Intensity Training, Fitness and Nutrition. Today we're going to have a look at different proteins in your protein supplement and what it's all about. Just a bit of a better understanding. We're going to look at your milk proteins, we're going to look at egg, we're going to look at soy. So for argument's sake, if we start with something like your milk protein, if you take normal milk, it's going to be pasteurized. The process of pasteurization means it heats up the milk from 70 to up to about 80 degrees Celsius. And then it's immediately cooled down to about 4 degrees. Now it's free of bacteria, and what we're basically sitting is something what they call total milk protein. Now total milk protein consists of 80% casein and consists of 20% whey. As we said, total milk protein consists of 80% casein and 20% whey. Okay. This total milk protein is going to be submitted to some enzymes and it's going to split the casein from the whey. Okay. If the whey, the first process it goes through is some ultrafiltration and microfiltration, and it leaves us with a product called whey concentrate, which you'll see is normally the main ingredient in your protein shake. The whey concentrate roughly in average consists of about 80% protein. It consists of about 4 to 8% lactose, which is also known as milk sugar and would be your carbohydrate. And it consists of anything from 1 to 9% of fat. If we submit the whey concentrate to even longer process of filtration, we end up with something called whey isolate. Whey isolate is even more pure form of protein. So on average it contains almost about 90% protein. But what it does is basically removes the lactose out of there. So especially for people that is lactose intolerant, it's quite a good protein to use. So you're sitting with 0.5 to 1% of lactose or carbohydrate in this instance, and 0.5 to 1% of fat. The whey isolate, because of the extra process of filtration, makes it quite a bit more expensive type of whey to use. Like I said, the whey isolate is about 90% protein. If you're lactose intolerant, it's a very good whey to use because it basically removes all lactose. And if you're quite conscious about the carbohydrate content of your whey, it's also the way to go for. If this whey gets submitted to a process called hydrolysis, and that can be done by acid, can be done by enzymes, and it can be done by heat. So after submitting the whey to the process of hydrolysis, we end up with something called whey hydrolysis. The problem with whey hydrolysis is that it's got quite a bitter taste, so the taste is quite difficult to mask. Although the absorption is quicker than your normal whey concentrate and your whey isolate. My opinion of this is I wouldn't spend the money on something like whey hydrolysis because in the stomach it's also going to be submitted to an acidic medium, it's also going to be hydrolyzed, it's also going to be broken down. And that bit of absorption is a little bit quicker. I don't think it's worth all the money spending on, but that's just my opinion. The mainstay in this instance of the milk proteins would be the whey concentrate and the whey isolate. We had a look at different types of whey, the concentrate, the isolate, and hydrolysis. Now we're going to have a look at casein, which is basically 80% of the milk protein. It's not highly soluble in that form, so they normally add an alkaline medium. In this instance, it would be calcium. So we're normally adding calcium, and to get a product called calcium caseinate. It's actually very highly soluble. And the interesting thing about casein, if it gets submitted to an acidic medium in the stomach, it actually forms a gel or a clot, so you get a bit of a slower absorption, so it's almost like a slow release protein. So in combination with the whey, it's got a brilliant amino acid profile, same as the whey, and it's a very good combination to use. The other protein we're going to look at is egg albumin. We had a look at the milk proteins now. Egg albumin is also excellent protein. It's got a very good amino acid profile. It's basically egg white. That's what the albumin part stands for. So the yolk gets separated from the whites. It gets pulverized and it gets dried. It's a very good protein because the protein content in a pure form is about 90%, and it's basically devoid of any fat. The carbohydrate content is anything from 1 to 9%, so it's a very low carbohydrate content as well. The other one we're going to look at is soy. It's got a bit of a bad rap with some bodybuilders, but it's still excellent, and the estrogen side effects associated with it is actually not true. So basically they use soy isoflavones, which could bind to estrogen receptors, or in a similar way estrogen would bind, but it's not going to have any estrogen-like effects in the body. So it's a very good protein still to use. In a normal form we get a concentrate as well, and a concentrate is about a 70% protein content. The problem with the 70% soy is you get a lot of gas production from a lot of people. So what they do, they filter it even more, and after the process of filtration we get one called the isolate, and that's going to be a 90% protein. So just to give you a bit of background, if you look at your product, if you look at a label, what the soy is about, what the egg is about, and what the whey and the calcium is about. There's other sources of protein as well, which could be hemp, it could be rice, although a lot of people don't even know there is a protein content associated with rice, and it could be pea. But that would be more vegan oriented options, and not so predominantly with most of the nutritional supplements found on the market. So if you take your typical supplement on the market, what you would be looking for is a protein content of about 70 to 80% at least. You would have a carb, if you're looking at a pure protein supplement, a carbohydrate content of less than 10%, and you would look at the fat content of less or equal to about 5%. Then you should have a fairly good quality product. What raises concern if it drops below 70, or if you're looking for a pure protein, there's a lot of carbohydrates added to it. The other thing as well, when it does ring alarm bell sometimes, when it goes to like 90+%, it could happen when they use something like a pure isolate, but there's still flavorants and still colorants that come in that act as dilutants. So it's just concerning if it could be really the value there, but that would be a good measure to look for purchasing a product off the shelf. Okay guys, lastly we're just going to look at absorption rates of the proteins. The quickest absorption is going to be, like I said, the whey hydrolysate, then the next whey isolate and concentrate, your casein, so your dairy proteins in there, then your soy, and then your egg. So a lot of them combines it, and you got like a so-called slow release, which has got a quicker acting and a slower acting release of amino acids. I hope this helped you. It gives you a bit more insight in your protein. Till next time, please subscribe to our channel. Till next time, cheers.